Attention, please be advised. The following episode contains spoilers. Don't say we didn't warn you.
Definitely go watch it. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. Yelp review.
I'm sorry, 10 out of 10?
Nerd On.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need but deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome.
Yeah, buddy.
Even smooth talking, jazz listening cowboys.
Space Cowboys.
Space cowboys.
Especially those who carry that weight.
Oh, yeah. Boy, you're gonna carry that weight. Beatles? Anyone?
Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite animes, and probably favorite anime for a lot of us, although we'll see, I suppose.
We'll find
Yeah.
out.
Naruto.
We will find out.
How dare you?
Naruto. I'm kidding. Maybe one day you'll have to.
Boruto's dad.
You'll have to give me the starter pack for Naruto for me to get into that. Because not
Just
gonna
watch
happen.
them all.
Just watch them. Yeah. See, that's never works.
No.
But
First,
so we're going to
business.
talk. I didn't even say what we're listening to yet.
What we're listening
Or
to?
what we're talking about.
That's fair, Tom. He didn't.
you said, okay.
It's not Naruto. It's Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
Hey!
But before we get into that,
The business.
the business. I am one of your hosts, Ali.
I'm Tom.
Corey.
Caitlin.
Josh. And this episode is brought to you in part by our patrons.
Patreons.
Patreon.
What happens when I don't interrupt? You just...
We're a strong, because I'm looking at your eyes and I'm like, he's going to interrupt me.
I'm
He's
not.
going to interrupt me. He's going to Kanye me.
No, he's not.
No?
So our patrons over at Patreon, thank you so much for supporting us. You are what keeps us moving and shaking.
And
Yeah.
if you like what
You
we
keep
do,
us regular.
then you can also be part of the fun and help support the show.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
You get a lot of extra goodies for being a patron as well. You
You
hang
get to
out.
listen to us more and stuff.
Yeah, things like that.
And you can learn all about it on our snazzy new website, nerdon.tv. Check it out.
So good.
Click on that support tab up at the top and see how you can support us.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
Let's get into the episode of which they clicked onto.
Yeah.
Reason
So
why they're here.
obviously, spoilers ahead.
Spoilers
ahead.
If you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop, first of all, how fucking dare you?
Hey now. Hey,
Wow.
hey, whoa.
Wow.
You've
Calm
seen it right
yourself.
now.
As of
You
right
made,
now.
You made the cutoff.
Within the last 48 hours.
Right, and the
I
cutoff
watched
is
the
right now.
entirety
The
of
scary
Cowboy
thing is,
Bebop.
the
Corey,
cutoff is right now.
we're getting to that age, and this is the magic number where, like, it's so far past the statute of limitations for spoilers that it actually goes back into
Spoilers.
like spoiler territory, because there are people listening to this that were not born when this came out,
Yeah.
When it was not first aired in
and that's
America.
fair.
Yeah.
Back in my day, we had a show
Back
called
in my
Cowboy
day.
Bebop.
It was the 90s back in my day.
Here's
So-
the other
Tsunami.
thing about what we do. Like, sometimes I feel like when we're looking at topics, you know that scene in Ready Player One where he's like waiting on the hill for everybody to come, and then all of a sudden this barrage of different pop culture characters.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what it's like looking at topics, and I'm like, oh,
Looking at topics for me is more like Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover.
yeah.
I just see the calculations happening overlaid on the screen. So
Rain Man.
yes. So initial reactions of the show, how we got into it, how we heard about it, and what do we think about it? Just off the cuff.
I don't remember. Was it on Toonami?
It was on Adult Swim.
It was on
Adult
Adult Swim.
Swim.
That's how I saw it. That is literally how I saw it, watched it, fell in love with it. I believe at that point, I had already seen Kenshin.
So you had
and
some
Yu Yu
anime in your
Hakusho.
life.
I had already some anime in my life, but this was unlike anything I had seen before.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fusion of a lot of different spices, as if you will.
Turmeric, cumin.
And
Spices.
it hit a lot of the right notes for me, like right out the gates
Nice.
on that first episode. So I was hooked episode 1 and I watched the whole series.
Caitlin.
I have already spoiled my initial reaction in a way.
Well, how you
I
came into it, at
literally just binged all of it
You made the cutoff.
within the last 48 hours. And it was quite the ride. And we'll get into how I feel about it later on.
Cool.
Fun.
Joshy Josh.
Initial reactions. Well,
Well,
I I would kind of say that this is my first
Foray.
foray into anime.
Okay.
One could say that if you don't count like things like Princess Mononoke.
I do.
Howling.
I do. But I mean, this is like a serialized episodic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a movie.
Yeah. So initial reactions, I really enjoyed it.
I'm very glad.
Again, it's I don't know. It's like picking up something new, like even if it's a hobby or
You
even
had
if
an
it's a
adjustment
skill.
period, I remember.
Yeah, there's an adjustment period because it is a different style of art in terms of the way storytelling is, the way that stylistically, stuff like that. So it is an adjustment thing. But overall, I enjoyed it a lot.
Before Ollie, you go, I just want to do a quick announcement to all those listeners out there. The reason why Josh started this is because we've been talking about this. We've been building the seed for like we're going to do a Cowboy Bebop episode for such a long time, and like our audience and our friends over at Patreon have been asking for it. And Josh is like, you know what? I'm super down. Let's do it. I just got to start watching it. And then I was just like, oh God, I really hope he likes it. I really hope he likes it. So like there'd be times when we're at the gym together and we would like do cardio and then he'd watch him like, motherfucker, you better fucking like this shit.
Well, I mean,
so it was a nail biting moment for me, like having him watch it. And you know, it's like watching someone else watch something that you love.
Yeah.
So it was an experience for me seeing someone watch it.
Well, I mean, it's a learning. What did you call it, Corey?
Learning experience.
Yeah, learning experience for me too is that, you know, in the modern world, being an adult, you have to adjust time.
Oh, you're talking about what I said, adjustment period. You had your adjustment period.
Yeah. But it also like, wait, we're going to talk about a whole series? No, there's only one season. No, I get that. But a whole
But wait, a whole series?
No, but brass tacks, loved it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ollie Oxenfree.
I adore this series. It's one of I saw it really early on in my like teens. I think like right when it came out is when well, I'll put it this way. The first time it hit like DVD, probably not too far after it hit.
Yeah.
Or it ran on Cartoon Network. But,
Dubbed or subbed?
dubbed.
Good question.
For sure.
Okay.
And I'm probably like a hashtag inflammatory opinion, but for the most part, I prefer dubbed, and it's not because of like the authenticity or whatever. I just find that the voice acting just appeals to me more. And not even most, because I've only seen like a handful of animes, but the ones that I have seen, when I've done research on it, it's been like globally accepted that the dub is better than the sub.
Specifically
Yeah.
this show.
Yeah.
Steve, yeah.
I feel the same way about a few. Like Kenshin is one specifically where I love the American voice actor who did Kenshin.
Right.
And I've watched the sub version before, and I can't stand his voice.
That's the
Can't
problem.
stand
Is
this.
that a couple voices,
I'm just like, that's
They're
not
either-
Kenshin.
they're either too high pitched or like whatever it is. It's just
Super
not
high
pleasant to
pitched,
listen
but
to.
that's a cultural thing.
But, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
totally. But I could fully respect, subbed.
Yeah.
For a lot of stuff like I think Dragon Ball Z people like subbed better.
I mean, there's a reason they
Some
offer both,
people
right?
like subbed.
Some people like
It's
subbed.
a-
better.
Funny, yeah.
there's the reason they offer both. It's a
Josh?
preference
I'm,
thing.
You have
I'm
a
actually
hand up?
sub preference.
Yeah. Well, you can also understand the language.
Well,
Ish.
To a point.
to a point. I have like conversational level Japanese, and that like I can talk like a third grader.
Mm-hmm.
But
I want
like
the cookie.
they changed the translations for the dubs. And
Yeah.
especially
Oh, yeah.
now that I've worked production on like some shows, I
Full
know
Metal.
what.
What?
Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
But like they take out some of the culture to make it more appealing to American audiences.
Yeah, larger.
Yeah.
Or
I got-
Western
my
audiences,
first,
as they may call it.
My first
Haha.
time exploring that or discovering that was with Pokemon when they had jelly donuts, which were clearly rice cakes. And they're
Yep.
like,
Oh,
those-
yeah.
those
Oh,
are
yeah.
not jelly
Well-
donuts. So that's like the very rudimentary version of what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would say that's a very Western version.
Yeah,
I'll talk
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit about that.
But it was subbed and dubbed is what I listened to, and I love the music, loved the drama. It was like adult. Again, it was only like one of two animes that I saw like that summer. With shout out to Dennis, my good friend Dennis,
Shout out to Dennis.
Shout out to
who exposed me to Cowboy Bebop and Outlaw Star, which is the other anime series that I've completed.
Mhm.
Josh.
I have a question
Yes.
for
Yes.
Corey.
Yes.
It really is more out of curiosity, and I guess it applies to. It really can apply here. in terms of the larger aspect of pop culture. Okay, so you watched the dubbed version of Kenshin first?
Yep.
Okay.
For all those
so-
at home, it's Rurouni Kenshin. You
Yes.
just call it Kenshin for short for those who are initiated.
And you said, oh, that's not this. Could it be because you watched it for so long and heard that voice and that character
I mean,
was...
absolutely. But even if it's so high pitched
Yeah.
that even going into it, it's just based on our the way our culture is built up, is I
Yeah.
never would have clung to the character the same way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Or
No,
like
no, that
even,
totally
even
makes sense.
related the same way.
Because vocal quality or sound or something goes with characteristics as well.
Yeah, there's a specific, and I know this is in the Kenshin episode, Tom, but like for example, in the
haven't
Well, no,
Kenshin
this
one,
is an interesting thing because we are talking about anime and you can get two different versions of the
right.
show.
In my opinion, there's something that the American voice actor does for Kenshin in these very calm moments where he becomes serious. Like he's very playful a lot of the time,
Yeah.
but then he shows his like badass side.
Yeah.
And the actor does something with his voice where he gets this very grounded level that the subbed version doesn't have.
Okay.
And to me, that is a key element for me in that character.
Yeah.
That I lost a lot without it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense.
I would almost say it kind of like this is like us here who are over like 22
Yeah.
would say Kevin Conroy is our Batman.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the people who are under 19 would probably say Reno Romano's their Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with like Goku.
Well, I mean,
as well.
there is a conditioning
subbed
mechanism
version.
to it.
Yeah.
There is a conditioning mechanism of like whatever you saw first is what your impression is. It's like, nurture versus nature when like a baby chick sees like the first thing they think that's their mom.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes it can be because I saw the. Let me see. There's been specific things like I did see the subbed version of Dragon Ball first, an episode or two before I was like, oh, let me watch this on TV. And I found the same thing. Goku's voice in the American version is, to me, far superior than the
I wanted to
Japanese one.
watch the new version of Sailor Moon.
Well, I was gonna bring that up. Let me do my initial reaction,
Yes.
then we can talk about everything else. Because I was gonna say your Western ass way of saying Brock and jelly donuts, but more like to actually something our viewers or listeners will know that we went to a convention and met Sandy Fox, who voices Chibi Moon, and was speaking about how Viz is now redoing all the dubs for Sailor Moon to its true form, where there were things taken out, such as like the relationship between two Sailor Scouts who are actually lesbian couple. And then in the first ever edition 4Kids dub was that they were cousins.
Yeah.
And they took out a lot of stuff to make sure that kids can watch it. But, kids
They were
aren't
making
idiots.
it,
So
quote unquote family friendly
Yeah.
when really they were just like
just
taking
censoring
out
it.
what they thought might be uncomfortable.
Sure. Yeah.
So going about adult themes and stuff like that, Cowboy Bebop for me, remember that this is the episode for Cowboy Bebop? Anyway.
Oh yeah. Huh.
I've watched a
Yeah.
bunch of anime and stuff like that beforehand, like not like Pokemon and Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh and all that stuff, like Serial Experiments Lane, Neon Genesis Evangelion, like things that you had to read. Like my first foray into anime at all was reading. And that's what actually like propelled me to like read. And then I was a big fan of sub stuff. But, starting to get older, Toonami was a thing, staying up late was a thing, watching like adult cartoon shows like Simpson, Family Guys, and Futurama. And then Adult Swim had Cowboy Bebop, and Cowboy Bebop was the first anime ever to air on Adult Swim. And it's actually up to this point the longest anime to air on Adult Swim.
Wow.
So
I did not know that.
there's a reason why it's heralded as like such in high regard. But when I watched it, I was not interested in it. I was completely not interested because I've
Cowboy
been watching
Bebop?
Dragon Ball Z. I've been watching Gundam. I've been watching all these fantastic things with like superpowers and explosions and pink
Yep.
lasers and stuff.
And
Next.
filler episodes.
And then all of a sudden, Cowboy Bebop is there, and it's like this very serious storytelling kind of thing of like people and their
Yeah.
relationships. And I was like, I can't get into this. As a child, I couldn't get into it. And then later I kept watching because you just stay up late, and then all of a sudden you realize like they're telling really, really, really good stories in each episode, and it became much more important to me as I grew up.
Yeah.
So, needless to say,
That's a good way
I
to,
absolutely love the
put
show.
it. Because I was the opposite. Because I had watched Dragon Ball Z, and there were like 4 episodes in a row where they're just like charging power, and I was
and
like,
then some
this
bullshit B
sucks.
plots happening.
Yeah, and so like when I got to this show, in every episode there's a
Genyu's a
complete
frog.
story. Like
Yeah.
that would to me was like, oh shit, that's crazy. I mean, Kenshin's the same way. There's a whole season that's like feels like a filler.
They're just going to
But, like-
some stupid fireworks ceremony.
Yeah. So this felt for me really good because I was like, oh my gosh, every episode has something.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I guess with
That's
that,
great.
we can talk about a little bit of like the history about the show and
Ooh,
itself.
ooh. Are we
Just-
gonna do Guess That Grump?
Oh yeah. Thank you for reminding me. I
should.
always
Ooh.
do that.
Ooh, ooh.
Let's play Guess That Grump.
So, for our new listeners, Guess That Grump is a segment part of our show that we're at the end of anything that we could rate. We're going to try to predict who is going to have the lowest rating. It's always a 1 out of 5, and 5 being something that we wouldn't change, and then whatever else that anyone else wants to put it as.
Yeah.
But yeah, who wants to guess first?
Caitlin.
Caitlin's gonna. Is that your vote?
Yeah.
Your vote, is Caitlin. Okay. So, Caitlin, who's your vote?
Tom.
Okay. And then Ali.
Interesting.
Caitlin.
What?
It's the only
Sweet
mystery.
baby Josh.
Ew.
I feel like, I don't know.
Josh.
I'm sorry, Caitlin.
Wow.
Wow.
I feel
probably loves
so
it.
personally
Wow.
attacked
Well,
right
Here's
now.
the thing. You have a terrible poker voice.
I know.
Yeah.
A poker face, a poker voice.
I know it's true. I
You have a
do.
poker voice for radio.
I'm gonna guess Josh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sweet baby Josh.
It's one of those two.
Yeah. That was, I had to decide between the two.
Yeah. But then every once in a while, Caitlin likes the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are our guests, our guesses. So skip to the end if you want to get to that.
What's the
not.
history, Tom? Give
The
it to us.
history of the show.
Give it to us in inches.
Synapses.
I mean, there's a lot to go about. I mean, I'll just talk about the show to begin with. The
Well,
show
what was it inspired by?
It was inspired by everything. It was inspired by like,
But a big one.
like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Blade Runner. But I mean, the director of the show, previously did Macross Plus. And this is his first show he ever did. I don't even know his name. This is his first show that he did by himself. And he took a lot of animation styles from Lupin the Third, which is another heralded anime, like one of the godfathers of it. It's all in the future. It takes place. It's a spaghetti western, kung fu, sci-fi,
Mhm.
if anything. And there are so many. It's a perfect blend of like visual and music. Like
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
about it has so much music just in its DNA. Like characters are named after it. Its episodes aren't even called episodes; they're called sessions. Every episode has a music tie-in. There's a ballad, jazz, heavy metal. It's like it's great. And the first thing that the creator actually thought of when he was thinking of the show,
His name
was-
is Shinichiro Watanabe.
the first thing he thought about was when he said Cowboy Bebop in his mind, he said Spike. First thing in his mind was Spike
Nice.
Spiegel.
Nice.
And all he wanted to do was make him cool.
He fucking succeeded.
He was
Well
just
done.
like, I just want to make a cool person. And the name literally
That's
comes
awesome.
from Spike Spiegel. He's like, that just sounds like a cool name.
Mhm.
That's it.
and
And
it's an alliteration.
yeah,
like
and the,
Peter
l-
Parker.
And the look of him is based off like a Japanese cop hero that was famous in Japan. But anyway, so the show follows mainly 3, mostly
know that.
5. Mainly 3 characters who are this ragtag group who are bounty hunters. And in the future, they're called cowboys. And they go around episode by episode following different leads. And throughout each episode, you learn more and more about these characters. They end up, recruiting Ein, which is this genetically altered dog,
Einstein.
super smart. And then Ed, who is this redheaded, very wobbly girl who ends up becoming their main hacker and ends up like saving their butts most of the time. But yeah, it follows mainly Spike Spiegel, Jet Black, and Faye Valentine. And throughout each episode, you learn more about Spike's past and how he was part of this crime syndicate. You learn that Faye has this debt that she's running away from and you don't know why. And then Jet has this sordid past with, cops and law and romance. But throughout the series, they get into different hijinks. They have different homages to different TV series, movies. The name tag on, I think, Ed's computer literally is the name of one of the USS Enterprises from Star Trek.
Awesome.
Like there's so
That's
many
awesome.
references
I didn't
like
know
that.
that.
But throughout it, it's very much the story of like this jazzy film noir where these characters have to deal with their past as they're trying to move forward. And they meet different people along the way, different characters, and you learn more about how the entire Milky Way solar system, they never go outside of it. Mainly takes place on Mars though. And the bounties that kind of ensue and the people that they have to come in contact with but never actually get too close to. And it ends with a bloody shootout with Spike Spiegel and his enemy Vicious. And that's all we'll
Shootout
say.
/ sword out.
Sort out, yeah.
A duel, we'll
duel.
say.
Some say.
Duel of the Fates.
So yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's it for
Yeah.
now.
That was well
and
done.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about spoilers of favorite parts and all that stuff too, but
Yeah.
definitely go watch it. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. Yelp review.
I'm sorry,
Oh.
10 out of 10? Tom? Is
Yelp
that a
rev-
5-star review from you already?
I mean, that's Yelp review. I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Gotcha.
believe Yelp reviews at all. It would be it would be 100% Rotten Tomatoes. Like another thing I don't believe in. But I think that kind of goes into our favorite part / episode. So we could do like
Yeah.
favorite moments and then favorite episode. I think that would be like a 2-part because it is a show. And it's 24 episodes
Yeah,
and a movie.
I think that's a good way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite, and you don't have to do it in any specific order. Just name
Something.
something. I'll start it off if you want. I'll start off with one of my favorite things in the show that I joke about all the time because I've been broke in my life. And
Is it
the
broccoli
beef with no broccoli or with no beef, I mean,
No beef.
is kills me every time. To this day, I will still laugh out loud when they say that.
Bell pepper and beef.
Bell pepper beef, yeah. It's so good. Because they're always broke, and that's the thing is like they're kind of always together because they never have any money. But then it's funny when they end up having money, it shows in one of the episodes that they're still like just as lonely.
Yeah.
So it's really, really good.
But that's one of my favorite tropes. I'll pass it around because I do have favorite episodes and stuff.
One of my favorite moments is kind of like what they do in space, like in the ship. Like I love the room that has the revolving like door.
Yeah.
Or I love how like Jet passes a cigarette to Spike, and then Spike's cigarettes are always crinkled.
Yep.
And I think that's
Or
a
how
big anime thing.
Ed sleeps in no gravity rooms
Oh, yeah.
only.
I also love that Ed always walks with her computer on her head. That's
Mhm.
the only way she transports her computer. Like
It makes sense to me.
There's this cool small little things that give you ideas of these characters, that give you the third dimension that you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh?
Favorite parts, favorite episode, favorite parts. I love the moment when there's like this street fight in this like back alley,
Mhm.
and somebody calls Spike vicious, and
He's wearing a pink puffy sweater.
Well, that's in one of my favorite episodes, the Jupiter.
Yeah.
and he loses his shit in the moment, and it is like, you don't know vicious. This is like he just like
Yeah.
vicious. You don't know vicious, and he just fucking loses his shit.
Yeah.
I love that. My favorite episode though is Toys in the Attic,
Yeah.
What
Um,
happens in there?
because I mean it is essentially to me like a one-off in a way where it's just like this kooky story that happens in space and basically it's just really old leftovers in the fridge that like turns into this
Not only
like,
really old leftovers, really old seafood.
yeah, which is
lobster.
worse.
Yeah.
And like everybody's telling their like the rules of being a bounty hunter kind of thing, and I just thought it was
Side note on that, my I guess a favorite part for me is from that episode where
Mhm.
the fridge that he like jettisons it into space
yeah.
and
Starts
it's
to open.
spinning and like
then
all the
sparkles.
sparkles are
Yeah.
coming out, because anytime in anime something is like too disgusting to deal with,
Yeah.
they make it sparkles.
And then Ed eats the.
It eats the actual monster.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was nasty.
She calls it pudding, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, pudding. Mm.
Ooh, gross.
Kaylin?
Oh dang. I
You
had
got
a favorite
this.
part in my head. Favorite episode is definitely the Pierre LaFaux.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
what,
one of
what
mine.
happens in an episode?
Basically ISSP is the name of it, right?
Yeah, the police.
Mhm.
They like experiment on someone and make them this invincible soldier. And then they're like, this didn't go how we wanted. And just like
Well,
shut
because
it off.
there was an issue with his training. It regressed. It made his mind regress.
It's like a
To
child.
a child.
Begin to regress. It
Yeah.
wasn't a child at the point,
Yeah.
but
Right.
it was regressing at the time, and they said it's a failure because
Right.
eventually he will regress to be a child. So they shut it down and decided to just keep him there.
Yeah. Which is oh so smart. Like, yeah, make a super soldier that's
Super assassin.
Super assassin, and just
It's like
keep him
giving
in
a
his room.
toddler a button for nuclear arms.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So I really liked the challenge that Piero provided for Spike, and also the
Because this happens actually
interesting-
way later in the series.
Yeah.
And we've seen now Spike is super capable of fighting, handling his own, teaching someone how to fight,
yeah.
getting out of any situation alive. He might be mummified looking, but getting out of it. And this guy.
Yeah. And this guy is just like, haha, I can float and kick you forever if I want, but I won't. And
Yeah, and then you have Faye and Jet figuring out all this information about him, and they finally go to relay the information, and he's like, "I don't fucking need it anymore."
it's like it does. He got don't no, it's fine.
Which
I'm
I
coming home.
loved.
But I also like, I think it brings to conversation of the design of the character.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
is a circle.
Yes.
He is a giant circle
Big
with a
ol'
top hat.
Yeah.
And he is creepy.
He reminded me of a bowling pin.
He reminds me of like how anime would have Jack the Ripper looking like.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
fair.
Yeah. That
Creepy looking.
That's fair.
very
So.
much.
Corey.
I'd say another one of my favorite moments is the first time you see Spike fight in the poncho, and he's
In the first
dancing
episode.
more than anything. Like he doesn't
It's like
use
hip hop keto almost.
he barely uses his
Yeah.
hands. He's
Yeah.
literally just like dodging
Swaying.
and fight. Like I remember seeing that and just being like, this guy fucks. Like
Yeah.
he's a baller.
Shout to Silicon Valley.
He's the shit. Like he's awesome. You also meet, I mean, since we're on it, that is probably my most favorite episode, which
Yeah,
is so
yeah.
silly that it's the first, like, I don't think I've had another show where the first episode is my favorite throughout the whole series. Because they're all really good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, they all live up to that first episode. But to me, there's something special about how you learn about the characters in the first episode, like about Spike and how capable he is at fighting. You learn about Einstein and like, you know, the what do they call the
Red
drug?
eye.
Bloody eye.
But
Yeah. Oh man. And how it's sort of romanticized in a way this episode, right? Because it's like a real Bonnie and Clyde situation where these two outlaws are basically trying to make it off the planet because she's pregnant.
Nope.
No.
Which one am I thinking of?
No, you are thinking of that
Oh,
one.
she's not pregnant.
She's
She's
not
got the belly
pregnant.
She's
full.
got
Everyone
all
thinks
of the
she's pregnant.
vials.
Yeah.
All of the vials.
But her idea was that they wanted to, like, you know, have a life and maybe not be on the run for the rest. I don't know. It is heartbreaking.
Well, the cool thing is that Spike, you end up seeing the humanistic side of Spike,
Yeah.
where he like learns more about her and her more, I guess, like sereneness, where like her counterpart is like on the edge all the time.
Yeah,
He's
like
baby, you want to sell this bloody vial?
she's really doing it because she loves him,
Mhm.
and that's it. Like she wouldn't be doing it otherwise.
Yeah.
And
What happens at the end?
it was hard. I mean, I don't know. I got a lot of feels in that episode.
Well,
I
I
think
think-
that's why it's my favorite one.
I think the big feel part for me in that episode is like where she realizes like he's never going to stop.
yeah.
And she takes her lover's life.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cops shoot her down and Spike is forced to kind of like stay out of it.
Yeah.
And it's
And he
kind of
can't
like,
do anything.
yeah.
He's like, well,
And-
life sucks.
and you
Sometimes.
think like, oh, Spike's a bounty hunter. He only wants the money. But you realize like in those moments, like he actually did care about, you know, even though he'd have to turn her in, he
Yeah.
actually cared about preserving life.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't
there's
know.
more
So
to it.
like for me, that was a great representation of what the show's about
Mhm.
in an episode. Like I think all the other episodes have aspects of that show, but that kind of has like, hey, this is what you're signing up for, and I think it did it really well.
Ollie Ollie Oxenfree.
Favorite moment is actually within the same as my favorite episode.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Which is your favorite episode?
Ballad of the Fallen Angel,
Okay.
right? That's what it's called.
Yeah. Fallen Angels. Yeah.
And my favorite moment is like I guess it's a series of moments.
Okay.
It's him falling backward
Oh, with the glass outside
with
the
glass,
church.
and
Yeah.
then
Music.
you getting the sort of the whole story
Yeah.
with the music. Like that episode was, and the reason it's my favorite is because I think that was kind of like a turning point for the series for me,
Mhm.
where I was like, this is already awesome, but like, damn, now it has like a deep ass story.
Yeah,
And like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Deep
okay.
ass.
deep.
My favorite kind of ass.
Oh my god.
Tom, no.
I think it's a really good one.
Yeah. I mean,
But that was kind of, you meet Vicious for the first time.
mhm.
And
They have that fight.
they have to fight, and like just them at the standoff.
I was gonna say the most dopest moments when he has
That was a
with
pretty-
Spike
yeah,
has the gun
so
at him
maybe
and he's
that-
got the sword at them.
That would
Yeah.
be like the second probably. Well, and then like the shot and the stab.
Yeah, at the
I'm
same
just like,
time.
oh
Yeah. Which reflects the end perfectly.
But
It
then
does.
also like after the shot, Vicious like throws
Grabs his face.
Thanos is him. And
yeah,
throws
throws him out of the window, like tosses the grenade back. Vicious looks back at the
And then
grenade,
it's like cue the choir.
and then like because you're just waiting for that grenade to go off.
Yeah,
You're
like,
you
I
see
wonder-
the pin. Oh my god, so dope.
So yeah, I mean that was just like a real standout moment for me that I still remember
yeah,
to this day.
I also, or Tom, you still have to go. I have another favorite episode too, but go ahead.
I think I really like.
Episode 5, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I think I like
Oh, I
a
thought it
lot
was
of.
way later than that.
Yeah. Right.
I think my favorite moments really are on the ship or on the Bebop. it's when they're by themselves.
Mhm.
I love those
Mhm.
moments, seeing them how they are, like seeing Jet use like planting the bonsai, or like when Spike's doing something where he's like risking his life, and then Jet cuts off a branch of the bonsai because he's like unnerved. But my favorite episode is, I don't even know the name of the episode, but it's the one where you learn about Jet's ex-girlfriend.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
it's,
that
so
was sad.
Oh no, I don't remember the name. I was just watching part of that today.
but I'll explain a little bit about the
Yeah.
story. So
I'll
like,
look up the name.
out of nowhere, like Jet just leaves and he's going
Ganymede?
Ganymede.
LEG?
Yeah, because it's on the moon that he used to be on.
Yeah.
And
You got
Jet, who used to be this police
Yeah, that was it.
officer, had this girlfriend, and then all of a sudden he goes to get this bounty, finding out that the bounty is actually the lover of his ex-girlfriend. And you find out that one day he just came home from work and she wasn't there. And she left this watch for him. And then I think the reason why it becomes my favorite moment is because he has to then really start dealing with his past and kind of putting that behind him. And then my favorite line is the very end when he says, like, time stops for no one. And then he throws the watch away. Because it's like, I'm, me, a heart
Yeah.
person,
Almost
romance
romantic.
shit. I'm like,
You wouldn't know.
it's so good.
You wouldn't know.
It's so good. And it's like, ever since then, I was like, like every time Jet gets mad at the crew, it's because he cares. Because he's lost so
He's
many
worried
people.
dad.
Yeah.
Like,
Uncle
like-
Jet.
like Bebop, not Bebop, like Spike, he cares about them because like, he knows they'll get in trouble and all stuff. But like Jet actually cares about their life, and he's like, don't do stupid things, don't get hurt, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It became like the moment where it's like, oh, this like
Yeah.
non-main characters, or not the character that the story's really focusing on, could be better than the main character. For
I mean,
certain episodes.
technically, would he be the captain of the ship?
he owns the Bebop.
Right. So it is his responsibility to make sure everyone is okay.
I think, like,
I think
to
he
your
takes that
point,
seriously.
like I can see why, and I kind of agree with you with the like the moments in the ship are some of the most favorite ones, super humble moments,
And they're quiet.
And
Yeah.
they're the quiet moments, because like they each have like crazy baggage,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
that like because he left kind of real like out of the blue,
Mhm.
and same with episode 5, like
Yeah.
he just pieces out,
Yeah.
without explanation, and then so like they are dealing with a lot of stuff, but like when they're on the Bebop, that's like their safe space,
Yeah.
kind of,
Isn't
And
Ganymede like, I'm so sorry.
Ganymede is a moon.
No, but what I was going to say, wasn't that the episode is that the one that they broke up in quotes, where everybody
they
was
all
like,
got
oh,
pissed.
we're going to go
Yeah, they all
do
got
our
pissed
own
at each
thing.
other. Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
at the end, they all kind of like stumble in, and they're like
Hey.
acting like hardly like
Hey.
anything happened.
there's a lot of meanings.
It's
with
interesting
the
how
Bebop.
shit starts to blend when you re-binge an episode.
Yeah.
Suddenly all the episodes become one. You're like, is that the one where... But my other favorite episode is and again, I don't remember the name of this one either, the one where Jet goes off to find the guy who took his arm.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
the
he meets up
assassin.
with his old
Yeah.
partner, and it's super noir, like the whole thing. And you see the flashbacks and stuff, and just that turn in that episode where the guy's like, I didn't take your arm. And you're just like, what? Wait a minute, what? Because you are a bad dude. Like, you're a bad guy. But he's like, look, it was business. Like, becomes like, suddenly this guy you saw as a monster is like, oh, it was business. He was paid off to do it, set up by his partner. And I just thought that was a great little reveal. And I loved that the partner only had one shell in the gun.
Mhm.
So it was literally up to like fate whether or not.
It was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was obviously living with guilt
Yeah.
his entire life because of it.
Yeah.
But something I've always had a soft spot for Jet. So that episode for me stuck out because I feel like I learned a ton about him, just like the one with his girlfriend.
Yep.
Mhm.
But it was like a whole different side of him that I had totally forgotten about from when I had watched it the first time. I was like, oh, that's right. He was a fucking cop, and like a great cop.
Yeah.
At that. But yeah,
The Gatling gun prison ship in that was
yeah.
kind of ridiculous, though.
it's fucking insane.
Another one of my second favorite episodes is the one where they're going for the cult, and there's that tower
Oh,
of TVs.
Scratch.
I love that one mainly because of the question it asks: is did God create us, or did we create God?
Hmm.
And it talks about like, and I was like, this is Adult Swim. This is a continuation of Toonami and Cartoon Network. I'm like, can they really ask these kind of questions?
Yes.
But like the fact that art can do
Everyone
that,
should.
which is great.
Everyone should
And
ask
that-
those questions.
But that's what really kind of like, I guess, opened my third eyeball and
Did
was
we
like,
create
oh.
Apple or did Apple create us?
You know what I'm saying?
Like, we got to ask that of all big corporations
Yeah.
from now on.
Yes.
I would say a moment that I don't know if it's like a favorite part, but it definitely stuck out to me is when Spike is in I don't remember what episode it is. He's getting his ship repaired.
Swordfish.
Yeah. and he starts like falling into Earth's orbit, and he's gonna like burn up.
Mhm.
And so, what's his name? That was repairing the swordfish. Like comes up in a space shuttle that he fixed.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the moment that stuck out was Spike telling Jet, "Hey, I left a bottle of whiskey behind the fridge," and that's like his way of being like, "I'm gonna die right now."
Yeah.
And
I want someone to enjoy it.
Yeah, and like I think it stuck out to me because that whole time frame of being like, well, I'm about to die. You can have my whiskey, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and
Well,
then
that's like
getting-
a gesture of
yeah,
love for Spike. Just be like, hey, there's some shit I hid, and I want you to have it.
and how it everything is like held together by the tiniest thread, because not only does Spike's ship fall apart
Mm-hmm.
being caught by the space shuttle, but then the space shuttle's like, yeah, all of our like heat reflector tiles fell off, and it's probably not going to end well, but then it does. So
Yeah.
like everything, that to me was the best description for how close everything is for them all the time.
all the time.
All the
yeah.
time.
Seat of their pants all the time.
It's also the show that taught me about prairie oysters.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Hangover
Hangovers.
cures.
Use that?
Yeah.
Heavy metal queen. Episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I was gonna say that's one of my favorite. I love the bet. If you
Oh,
can,
yeah.
if you can guess her
The
name.
name.
Uh-huh.
Aw.
I think one of my favorite parts about it is more of an overall aspect of it. I love the music.
Yeah. We
Yes.
should
Oh,
transition into
man.
that.
Yeah,
Let's talk
yeah.
about that for a minute.
Yeah. Let's just talk about the music.
The music for me was, I'll be perfectly honest, there are a few episodes. It's kind of like when you start something new. Sometimes it does take a few episodes to get into it. And this one was one of those ones. And the music is what kept me going.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like episode 4 or 5 that I was like, okay, I'm in. This is cool. But the
Probably five.
music, probably 5. But the music, like, I'm a sucker for blues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for
Do you like all
And
the
jazz.
all the references?
Yeah.
Well, it's the music in it is also allows it to have those quiet moments on the ship.
Yeah.
Like it is a slow burn show. There is, I said earlier, there's always something happening in every episode, but there's not something happening every second.
Yeah.
Like it's very much, you can see the inspiration from things like Blade Runner and stuff like that, where it allows you to take these peaks into the moments that other movies or shows would cut out.
Mm-hmm.
But what they do is allow you to see the full picture of the character,
Yeah.
not just what they do.
Mm-hmm.
It's
that make sense?
anti-Alfred
Yeah.
Hitchcock almost.
Yeah,
Alfred
like
Hitchcock believes like a story should be all the good parts without all the boring parts, but this
Yeah.
allows you to kind of feel all of it.
and I think that works. It doesn't always work, right? But I think mixed with the blues and the jazz and stuff like that, it allows you to get into that vibe of like letting things slow down a little bit, and like the real life of like what would it be like traveling around space all the time?
Yeah.
Be a lot of downtime.
I think that worked to their benefit with it being an anime, because like with anime, there's, or really any cartoon, there's moments of like they're not drawing, it's just freeze framed on this thing, but it's them like having a moment or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think the music really helped like work with that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Um,
you can't talk about Cowboy Bebop without talking about blues or jazz, but I also think it's something you should talk about with the ballads and orchestral stuff.
Yeah.
Like those moments, like your favorite episode, Ollie, Ballad of the Angels, when Faye is trying to find that one bounty, and then all of a sudden
Mhm.
she goes into the opera little box seat,
Yeah.
and then sees the dead body next to him, and then all of a sudden like the music swells up. It's like,
mhm.
oh shit,
Yeah.
she's in trouble.
That was
It's-
intense.
It's super intense. It's so great though. Yeah, she's looking for Mao, and then I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh my god. And then there's this orchestral music, and then when Spike's falling, the slow orchestral music with the kid choir, it's like,
Yeah. The music really it adds that, because the characters can be written in a certain way and the voice actors can give their that, and then of course you can have it animated in a certain way, but music can really set the tone.
mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And this, I think,
It's something we've discussed on the show a lot.
Yeah.
There's a to all filmmakers or show or storytellers out there, music is a big, don't ignore it.
Yeah.
When yeah, go ahead.
Well, I love that it's not just like on top of what's going on. It's like baked into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this world, like the characters love jazz and the blues and stuff.
Like how many scenes open with the smoky room?
Yeah. But it
Or someone
actually,
cooking.
I found one of my favorite quotes, which I think kind of sums that up real nicely. And that's, it's one of the episodes, they're scoping out some guy in a bar. I think it might actually be like the one where she's kidnapped, or I forget which one, but I think it's that same one with
Okay.
Mao. But he's saying something like, what does he say? He's like, I thought you liked Jet, like Spike to Jet. He's like, I thought you liked the blues. And he says, I wrote it down. I started wailing to the blues when the doctor whacked my bottom on the day I was born.
Oh, when he's talking to Fatty.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that quote. No, Fatty says something different. He says like,
when I was in my father's
when I was
sack.
father's
Oh,
sack.
it's
You know
when the
what I mean?
okay, yeah. It's the episode that Corey's talking about, the one where they're looking for Jet's
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
and he sees Fad Rivers, which is Muddy Waters. Fad Rivers, and then it's almost like they have to out each other so they don't give each other's positions away.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's cool because they do that almost like a code name.
Yeah.
So
that was I love that line.
Yeah. And also, can I just give a shout out to that opening song?
Tank,
Oh,
It gets stuck in my
man.
head
Tank, and the real
all
folk blues.
the fucking time.
Never skip
3, 2, 1, let's jam. I
I would say like this for all
So
the,
good.
for all the mainstream people who probably not watched it, but I guess I know for a fact everyone that's listening has heard of a thing called Game of Thrones, and everyone
Wait,
talks
what?
about the opening to that. I would say Cowboy Bebop is
It's
like
called baseball, Game of Thrones. Yeah, baseball. We've all heard of it.
Cowboy Bebop's theme is kind of like that to the anime world, where like it's just so it's
iconic.
it's
Yeah.
iconic. It's you can't get away from it.
There was a
Like,
time where it was stuck in my head and I didn't know what it was from and it was driving me nuts. And then my roommates at the time had put it on in the other room and I was just like, oh my God, it's Cowboy Bebop, of course.
That's funny.
but I think that could lead us to maybe favorite characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy.
Spike. All day. Like, I wanted to be him growing up. So I still do. When I grow up, I want to be Spike Spiegel. Like, I want to
Yeah.
be the way I already have the hair for it. I just got to style it right.
And the
I
guys
know
start smoking.
But he's so, I mean, like you said, I want to create a cool character. Well fucking done.
Yeah.
You did
Yeah.
it. You nailed it.
It's like in Pokemon, we wanted to create the world's strongest Pokemon.
Yeah.
We succeeded.
That's exactly like when you said that, you're like, you wanted to create someone cool. I was like, well, like, I've
We
never seen
nailed it.
someone set out to do something and then hit it so close.
He's number 25 in terms of the top 250 greatest male anime characters.
If it was coolest, he'd be
Huh.
number one. If that was the list, like coolest anime characters of all time. There it is.
Mhm.
Because he's effortlessly cool. And
Yeah.
he's,
Be like water.
but he's not perfect, right? Like he still gets shot. He still gets
Here's
injured.
his flaws.
He's
He
ended up like
messes
a
up
mummy like
a lot.
3 times on the show in bandages and shit. So
Yeah.
like,
I was gonna say Steve Blum,
yeah.
who voices him.
Shout out.
Who voices the English dub. He studied a lot of film noir to be able to voice him, which is funny because Spike barely does a lot of film noir stuff. He
Yeah.
mainly does a lot of like aggressive stuff. But that's the one
Whoa.
thing that a lot of people have been saying.
Side note on the dub.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. It was so good.
That
I was
voice?
so surprised at how good that dub was.
Yeah.
Steve Blum, dude. Kills it.
Even Japanese viewers and audiences have said that Steve Blum does a better job of the character than the Japanese, because the Japanese actor portrays him in one note,
Yeah.
and then Steve Blum plays him in 3
It's
notes.
the same with the Kenshin thing.
So
Like,
yeah, it was something funny because like it's kind of like Steve Blum's neutral is his serious,
Yeah.
and then his lighter tone is actually his more like nonchalant.
Yeah.
So it did something more than what the Japanese actor portrayed, because the Japanese actor portrayed him in one note, which is all nothing but non-serious.
If you can play injured and cool at the same time, which he does in almost every episode, like almost
The
dead,
episode where
and
he's,
then
like,
he
almost
opens his
dead.
mouth and says something, and you're like, he sounds so fucking cool.
It's the one where he's almost dead, and then Faye's like
Faye's like,
playing cards on him, and then all of a sudden she says, "You suck at singing."
You're
'Cause
singing
he's
off key.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's singing the song that Julia would sing.
Yeah.
And then she throws the cards in his face.
He's fucking fantastic. So that would be, I think that's my favorite character, with a shout out to, I love Jet. Like, if he's like a father figure to me.
Yeah.
But I just like,
Papa Bear.
you just like inherently like him. Like he's just a
Yeah.
good dude from start to finish. So that's my honorable mention.
Karen.
I don't really have a favorite character in this. Are we talking main characters or just any character in it whatsoever?
Well, you can open up to any character.
Yeah, I
Sure.
guess you could open up. We're a no rules place. That's my one rule.
I will say Chess Master Hex was
Okay.
Yeah.
probably a favorite of mine.
Oh yeah.
They use real chess moves from, I think, the Russian to American chess
Oh,
match.
really? That
Like the
makes
really
it
famous one during the Cold War?
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's really cool. I did not know that.
There's so many references. I was like, this is stupid.
Oh yeah,
This
no,
is so
there are
stupid.
references
So
like
many.
galore in the show. Yeah, Chessmaster Hex is probably my favorite, just because he's like, I'm gonna set up a nightmare for people that I'm mad at for 50 years from now when I know I'm senile and can't do anything about it. Have fun.
That is vindictive little shit move
Yeah.
right there.
hardcore. I do.
You like the villain.
I like the villain.
There you go.
I do like Faye Valentine
Yeah.
to a degree, and I like Spike for the good in him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Jash.
Ed.
Jash.
Ed. Yeah. Oh
Ed.
yeah.
Edward?
Ed's good.
Do you know the name of Ed's computer?
No.
Tomato.
What?
It says tomato in English and then I think in kanji.
Oh my god, I didn't even pay attention to that at all.
There's
That's
a lot
awesome.
of there's dumb stuff in there too, so this is cool.
Yeah, for reasons like that. She cracks me up every time she's on screen.
I would say like it's funny because I think of how Ed would be in real life. I think as she's portrayed in the show, be very annoying. But the way that they animate her and make her like Luffy and like have her
Yeah.
walk in such a weird walk cycle makes her that much more enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
But not to live with.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I want to watch you. I don't want to hang
Fun
out.
from afar.
She always reminded me of like the way she moves is like an orangutan.
Yeah.
Like, and I that's one of my favorite animals
King
of all
Louis.
time. So I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah.
But like the hanging and like the swinging and
Yeah.
She's just so sweet.
But then
yeah. And her relationship with Ein.
Yeah.
That's the fucking best.
I would say the way that she hacks, you know, how she like goes through the internet and all that stuff, and then her face shows up when she breaks into stuff.
Yeah.
It's total like Young Justice referenced that shit. When they use that with Robin, like when he hacks and stuff, it's his face.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's Cowboy Bebop.
So homage.
Homage.
So you like Ed?
I like Ed.
Edward.
Edvard.
Really,
Edvard
Francois.
Munch.
And
That's not true.
Jet.
That's who painted the Scream.
Jet is cool. I mean, all the characters to me are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like
I mean,
some.
we love all of them.
Yeah.
But Edward is number one with
like
a
some.
bullet.
There's a part of me that's like, Vicious to me is kind of like a
Sephiroth.
Sephiroth.
I was like a Sephiroth?
What was it? Jeremy.
No, it's Jonathan.
Jonathan.
But anyway, Vicious to me is just like
Vicious.
that whole thing between the two of them. I'm like,
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Ollie. It's
That
just
means
such a
his-
good story.
That means his wet
Oh, yeah,
sweat,
that's right.
his white
just-
sweatpants.
I like
His
seeing
wet sweatpants.
Exactly.
Good.
It's I don't know. It's a very heavy. It's kind of a heavy background story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That like two friends are now
Sephiroth.
enemies.
now enemies.
It's called Two Friends. That's what it's called.
Not as catchy as Cowboy Bebop.
No.
No.
Jolly.
I don't know. It's for me. It's tough. Like for me, it's gonna be.
I'll be there for you.
It-
It's tough for me too.
It's between Faye, Jet, and Spike.
Oh.
Like I think they're all super interesting
Faye,
characters.
Jet, and Spike.
Yeah.
So you said? Okay.
Like I told,
Why Jet?
Why
We'll go down the list.
Jet? Because he's always like I just love watching him be frustrated and how he deals with it, and that he's like
That he's right 90% of the time.
Yeah, he's
and no
right.
one listens to him.
he's right, and then he always like
Reminds us
he
me
wants
of
to keep
somebody.
himself separate,
Me.
but he always ends up like
You know what else is good about him? Is he
going
never
back.
rubs in the fact that he's always right. Like
Right.
they'll fuck up, they'll get injured, they'll complete the mission or whatever, and then he'll just take care of them.
And I would eat anything that he prepared.
Oh yeah.
What about the beef broccoli?
I would
beef.
even eat that and enjoy it.
The,
I'd be like,
the bell
thank
pepper
you.
and beef.
Sorry, my bad.
You've just called it beef broccoli.
I know, that's 'cause
so
that's what
many
I want
times.
right now.
No,
and
it
then
doesn't
even the
really
instant,
sound good.
Even the
Oh,
instant
man.
noodles
Even
Yeah.
instant noodles.
So why Faye?
Because it looks so it all looks so
and
good.
the sautéed mushrooms.
Yeah.
Ah,
What about why
Faye?
Faye?
I love because she's a badass, but at the same exact time, she somehow manages to equally be a like material girl.
annoying, awful person.
She's like
that's what you're looking for.
She was
Well,
That's
that-
how I feel.
She's like the anime Catwoman.
She is.
yeah, yeah.
You can't. I mean, Faye also kind of reminds me of the word "bay" for day.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But it's not really what she's interested in, right? 'Cause
We're
you have that scene
skirting
with
around the
Sunday where she's
issue.
like-
But yes,
Whatever.
she's a provocatively drawn lady
Yeah, man feelings when I was a
who
child.
does a lot of shopping but never changes outfits. And yeah, I mean that's just a product of maybe I have
well,
more
you don't
insight
know.
on
Maybe
this.
she's Doug Funnying us, all of us. Like, what if she's just buying the same outfit and she opens her closet? She's like, I change all the fucking time.
yeah.
And then Spike.
Maybe you have more insight on this, but like the portrayal of Faye, was that controversial at the time? Is it still controversial?
Well, I mean,
what situation?
I'll say like this, and I mean, actually, our fellow podcast on our network, Trope Town, will probably talk a lot about it. So you guys go check that out. But I mean, the thing about anime and Japanese culture, they're like very open with kind of showing things that, you know, Westerners would find is too provocative or not okay. But it's funny because it's kind of like this vicious cycle where like Americanized people are thinking like that's how Japanese culture is, and then it's influencing Japanese culture, and then that's back influencing us. But I mean, when it came out, the show was dropped when it first came out for the adult themes. And I mean, there's many moments where like you see Faye sunbathing and then she's putting suntan oil and then like Ed rubs her face on it and like she freaks out and her boobs jiggle, you know, like boob physics stuff, right? And I mean, you know, we're not in qualms yet, but I could 100% guess that Josh may have had issues with the way she was portrayed sometimes. But I would also say the way that she was portrayed or the way she was dressed up probably influenced Lilu from Fifth Element.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, there are so many things iconic about her, you know, like one of her first sequences, she has sunglasses, she's smoking a cigarette, and she's just shooting people with a submachine gun.
Yeah, that's the thing where, like, to me, that's why I was okay with it, was because of the reverse side of it.
She dances on a very fine line.
Yeah.
But then...
Well, she was doing it on purpose, though.
Yeah.
Like, she dressed
She's
that
a
way
femme
because
fatale.
she knew that dressing that way would work in her favor for when she wanted to use feminine
100%.
wiles.
She's a survivalist.
So, you know, maybe a persona that some wouldn't agree with.
That's fair.
But effective and like real in that sense. But I think I have to give it to Spike.
Spike?
Yeah. Love his story.
You have the Trinity, but you go for Spike.
Just the Spikeness of Spike.
Nice. For me, it's Spike. Whenever I see him fight, it's not the shootout scenes, it's the martial arts sequences.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Are my
drawn
favorite.
super well.
And then the moments where he kind of really sticks his neck out for the team, really like tie in really well for him.
You see his heart.
Yeah. And then also, you know, he says one of my favorite stories I've ever heard in my life was the tiger striped cat story. Which is the story about the tiger striped cat that can't die, then finally meets a white cat, and then they fall in love, and then she dies. And then he cries 1,000 times and finally dies and never comes back to life.
Well, I mean,
it's one of my favorite stories about how, like, no matter how resilient people are, sometimes.
And then doesn't he say, "I hate that story"?
I think so.
Or
yeah.
That's the core of
Jet's
the
like,
whole
it's a good story. He goes, "I hate that story."
Yeah. Because it's his life.
I feel like his motivations are all completely 100%.
Yeah.
By like love and despair.
I have some fun facts that I had saved earlier from like one of my favorite things to do for those at home when I watch TV shows or movies is go to the trivia section of IMDb. And I thought there's some really interesting stuff. So like his cigarettes, how they're always bent up or down, is actually an homage to Dizzy Gillespie because his trumpets were bent up. The horn of the trumpet was bent up or down, depending on how he played it. The fight style that he practices, they're drawn frames from Bruce Lee movies because he practices Jeet Kune Do.
Are you going to do Abdul Karim?
Go for it, because that's what I was going to read next.
So there's one guy, Abdul Karim, who brings in a coffin, which is actually a homage from Django. Hakim. But then in the Bruce Lee movie, Hakim Abdul, which is the tall, black, lanky dude who beats the shit out of Bruce Lee.
Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah. And Spike uses nunchucks to fight him. So it's complete homage to
It's
that.
from Game of Death, like the Enter the Dragon series.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of little things. Every multi-language street sign is in English, Japanese,
And Persian.
Persian, and Russian, which is interesting. So it's like this future-proof kind of like, these are the languages in the future.
That'll last.
Yeah, which is, I thought was really interesting.
Good for me.
There is different things to like the type of guns they use, the music used, but I thought a few of those were pretty interesting. If you head to the IMDb,
Jet uses a
check it out.
Walter
Yeah.
P99.
Whoa. I forgot to mention one of my favorite aspects of the show, and that's that they use mysticism in the show. The shamans, the feng shui.
Yes.
Even though they have like all of this insane technology, they're like, oh no, if you just like feel the magnetic energy, you can know how to like do things.
That also brings me up to another one of my. So most of my favorite lines of actually all art or anime, whatever, come from this show. And one of the lines is from the shaman. when Spike like wakes up and he's with them.
Mhm.
And then he tells a story that we all have seen now on Tumblr and Instagram. Thank you, internet. But it's the there are two lions, or there are two wolves in every body. There's one of light and there's one of dark. And then the son asks like which one wins. It's like the one you feed. And it's like
Interesting.
it's so good. And then another fucking line is like later on when you find out Vicious is alive and he's like trying to kill out the crime syndicate. And then like they said, remember Vicious, a snake can never eat a dragon. It's like Spike is gonna fuck some shit up.
The last little bit of trivia that I didn't even get until I read this like today was in the episode Wild Horses. They're hunting that trio, right? The trio of pirates named George, Harmon, and Ruth.
Baby Ruth.
Yeah.
George Herman Ruth is
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth's real name.
And then the three
Oh.
old men that they always see are
Because I was way into baseball cards and baseball when I was a kid.
Oh.
the three old men they always see at like bars or
Everywhere.
cantinas are it's are different musicians. It's crazy. Like the person that created the tank, her name's Kano. She like created seatbelts for all of her like cast members so they can use it while playing the orchestra and all that stuff. Like there's so much that was built
like the
into
running
this.
theme throughout the show is like 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
Everyone's
So, like,
events happened 3 years ago.
Yeah. Jet and Spike got together 3 years ago. Faye's events and Ed's events all happened 3 years ago, which I thought was really interesting. I like that it's a shorter timeline too.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was some cool stuff on there that I really enjoyed.
Dare I say we have qualms about
Sure.
the show?
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be in its DNA again, another DNA qualm. There's some episodes that aren't as good as the other ones.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
I agree with that.
Now you got to say that qualm about every show.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, every show, yeah.
But I mean, there's a thing like kind of like with Final Fantasy. Sometimes some qualms are outweighed by its greatness, and it's okay. But I mean, there's some episodes where like snore, like the one where like there's the monkey gang people who have the virus from the monkey. Like the episode where Spike's teaching that kid how to do martial arts and he's trying to get money for his sister is way more entertaining than that gang one.
No.
Like the Heavy Metal Queen one, I liked it better than the mushrooms. You know, like there are certain episodes where like I could have not have watched that. But
See, I like that Monkey Gang one. A lot.
the monkey one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually liked it too.
It was alright.
It was okay. It was alright.
That's the thing with anime as far as like carrying over, and any cartoon really series, I feel, and carrying the plot forward.
Well, I mean, again, this is 24 episodes, and most animes now who are like summer animes are like 13 episodes.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
Yeah. I
Any other
don't.
qualms?
Not really. I mean, yeah. I mean, to probably.
It's hard to find one,
what you
actually.
said earlier. I mean, what you said earlier. It's like a product of its time. Like the way Faye is drawn and a few of the female characters in it, but that's of its time.
Yeah.
Like at the time, that was what you did.
For better or for worse?
Now, 20 years later, or whatever it is, like yeah, of course.
It's still done.
Well, I mean, for
But-
better or for
Yeah.
worse, like I loved her design. And
Yeah.
like, the fact that like, you know, I'm going to say like they had shininess on her boobs, like made you really see that she was wearing like a latexy kind of clothing, which was like, it added like a realism to it. Cause there's sometimes anime like don't have detail and you're like, you lose like, what are they wearing? Is it like cotton? Is it like felt?
Oh, it gave you an idea of the material.
Yeah, it just kind of made it more realistic for me.
Josh?
As a kid.
Oh, I was stretching.
Oh, I
But,
thought you were raising your hand.
but I can go.
Yeah.
I mean, what you just said, and I think I've mentioned this on different things that are anime related ish. I
think all of them you always said like,
I just the representation of women in anime, especially older anime, just it. Now, Josh, get over it. But I just
No.
but
No
here's the
one
thing about
said that. In fact, I said
No,
that
I'm
qualm
saying
a
it to
minute
me.
ago. You don't need to get over it.
um
Don't say that to you.
but Faye, for some reason, I was accepting of it only because her style, the way that she even like
her jacket is
her
tied
jacket
up.
was like tied around. She wore short shorts. Okay.
Her legs were like in a hose, so it's like, yeah, it's technically all covered up.
Judy, the bounty hunter on the channel.
Oh yeah, it's like open
It's just
shirt.
Oh my
open,
God.
and you're like, because I think form over function.
Well, to me, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, she has
What?
things like
That's-
taping her down.
yes.
So that,
So, well, here, and I was totally fine with Faye dressing like that just because of the running theme throughout the whole show of Faye's always like, men are stupid, men are idiots, men are dumb. And then you have Jet being the juxtaposition that being like, women are crazy, women don't think straight. Like they're always talking about how the other gender is like an idiot and
Yeah, all
they're
the
this,
sexes.
they're that, they're whatever.
Which is great because neither of them are what the other one is saying.
Right.
Which I love.
Exactly. And then you also have those episodes like the one with Gren. That's Jupiter.
Yeah, Jupiter Jazz, which is
Jupiter
another one of my
Jazz,
favorite.
yeah.
Like,
That
Yeah.
was an amazing episode.
I remember-
that caught me off guard a lot.
yeah,
in a
the first
in
time
the greatest of
because
ways.
it's 2 parts. It's
Yeah,
2 parts,
yeah.
and that episode, I remember seeing that for the first time and being like, "Whoa! Like this is heavy. Like this is some deep shit." And I didn't know that Gren was actually supposed to be based off Brad Pitt originally,
Oh.
but then the guy was like, "I don't know. I don't think it's gonna translate if we draw Brad Pitt with breasts. Like I don't."
No, it wouldn't have.
It wouldn't have worked as well. But I think, because I was just thinking in main characters earlier, Gren is my favorite non-main
Mhm.
character.
Yeah.
Just
Gren's
because
great.
it's such a unique story arc, character arc, that I didn't see coming. Like it took me
Yeah.
by such a
Same.
surprise. But yeah. So sorry, continue your point. I just totally derailed. that.
Well, it's just more of like all of the exaggerations that they make are kind of in place, because then when you see like the normal people living normal lives that aren't
Mhm.
being
Mhm.
bounty hunters,
Mhm.
they dress perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
no one's going out of their way to look like that.
This is
but
the
the
it's
bounty
lifestyle.
hunters
this
are
is like
super-
from a stylistic standpoint, I get it,
Mm.
but I'm never gonna.
No, that's fine. I mean,
I'm never gonna like
I-
accept it.
I honestly say it
That's
like
fair.
this. Like, I think it's good that there's always going to be something like that, where it's like,
Yeah.
the representation of women should always be kind of like, just kind of given a second glance to, because they're not objects and they're not supposed to be there for just fucking eye candy.
Yeah.
And like, you always bring that up. So
if
I
it was
understand.
if it was one-offs,
Yeah.
it'd be
But-
different.
Yeah.
I will say, like, and I guess to Caitlin's points, like in a stylistic way, like I kind of just appreciate it because like every shot she's in, she always looks really like well designed. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing ever muted about her.
they all do. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And the thing is like what's so funny and what I appreciated about it was that Faye was I could accept her like the way that she dressed, the way that she was designed. I was like, oh yeah, her character like oh yeah.
Well, also she's
and
not
it wasn't
unaware,
too like
right?
scantily like
Yeah.
She's also, I mean, she
aware
uses
of
it to her advantage as a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Like it's not a like, let's just draw her for the reason. Like it's functional in a sense.
Yeah.
I say like this: woe betide the woman that has killer looks and killer brains.
Yeah.
She knows how to get what she wants any way she can get it.
and like
So,
Ollie said, she's a badass.
Yeah.
Well, and they're
Um,
also not making her like panty
Slutty.
shot all of the time, or at
Yeah.
all. Actually,
Never.
I don't think they really have any time where they're like really making her.
Zoomed in on
It's not a Michael
No.
Bay directed thing.
Right.
no
Exactly.
sweeping
Yeah,
ass shot.
yeah. It's all
Let me
like,
fix that car for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
God.
none of that. It's
Yeah.
like even though she's scantily clad, like there's a
That's kind of where
there's
it is.
still
ends.
respect for
Her.
who she
Yeah.
is and what she does.
Mhm.
I agree.
Any
I think my only qualm is like the one same as you is that couple of the episodes ran a little long. I think.
Mm.
Now I do, not to like shit on qualms,
No.
but like I feel like getting into the area of like some episodes weren't great is dangerous because every TV show is gonna have
Everything
course.
has that,
And that's
yeah.
what, well, I mean, the funny thing is kind of like even the worst episode of Cowboy Bebop, whatever you want to pick it is, it's
yeah.
probably better than some of the best episodes of other animes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
I don't want to get us in a hole where like we
No.
said about this and when now every TV show we cover, we gotta be like, some episodes weren't great. We covered that. Cool.
Good
It's kind
point.
of like
moving
this,
on.
where it's like, I love you as who you are, but that one hair on your shoulder, man, it's like you're nitpicking at that point. So it's
Yeah.
like it's
I
not
would
like
say collectively, like as a show, I don't have any gripes with it.
yeah.
Oh my god!
I love it.
man.
So I guess we get to the point where we rate.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
I
She
haven't
has qualms.
had any qualms.
Oh, I'm sorry. You jumped on his. I thought you were going to
I
do yours
did.
at the
I
same
did.
time.
I did interrupt.
So go ahead.
Thanks. for
You
that.
added.
So as I was saying,
I
we're
did
going
ask.
to. I'm kidding.
So my qualms aren't really with the show. They're more my personal tastes.
Baggage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Small enough to carry on the plane, but
Okay.
But-
Put an animal in there.
yeah,
You can fit it
yeah,
on the seat in front of you?
yeah.
Okay, cool, cool.
Probably so.
To set the stage, though, not to interrupt you again, but you
Going
watch
into
a
rating.
lot of anime.
I
correct?
do,
Yeah.
but I'm hyper selective
Mhm.
about what I watch. Like
Okay.
hardcore. I've been watching anime for way too long.
Yeah.
And
Nonsense.
yeah, I know.
Just
That's-
long enough.
That's just long enough. You're right. And I've had friends telling me for a really long time, oh my God, you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop. You have to watch it. It's so good. You'd love it, blah, blah, blah. And I always was like, I don't know. It just didn't really pique my interest. And then watching it, I found myself checking what time it is.
Was it overhyped?
Not that it was overhyped, but I couldn't connect with the characters okay.
They leave you at a
context,
distance. Yeah.
They leave you at a distance.
100%,
And the type of anime that I try and watch are usually ones where people, they have their issue and then they try and work through it. And then the ensuing issues that come from working through one barrier lead them to new barriers that they work through. And this whole show, the entire series, is about characters that can't get past their problems. So it made it really difficult for me to connect with any of them because the whole show is basically being like, I can't reconcile my past. I'll have to die to do it.
That's it's very much like you probably wouldn't be a fan of Blade Runner.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
It's a slow burn and it's a noir and it's not that it's your baggage, it's a genre thing. It really is.
Yeah.
Like it's a slow burn noir, which is always leaves you kind of at a distance from your subject. Like even the original Blade Runner, you never you see aspects of their life, but you never really connect with Deckard in that sense.
Also in the sense of like the noir, like I think the animes you kind of talk about, not to name one specifically, but like it sounds like the characters kind of like already established what's kind of going on, and then whether what happens in the episode fulfills their development or not, they're kind of on the track to do it. Versus like these ones, they're
so like
not
so like in the sense of something I know you've watched and liked is like One Punch Man, right?
Yeah.
So like his character, everything about, how much things mean to him. How determined he is to do certain things, how determined he is to be a hero. You watch his struggle to do that, right? But in this show, you see characters who are doing the opposite. They're kind of running away from what they should be doing in a sense.
Right.
You find out things about them slowly in a noir style. Like you don't find out about a lot about Spike until like the last few episodes. Like you really find all of a sudden you're like,
it's
oh
like
shit.
1, 5, and 23.
Yeah. So like it's the total opposite of the types of shows that I've known for you to enjoy.
Right. Well, and earlier
Am I
you
correct in
said,
that?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. But also you were saying, so it's not necessarily baggage, it's genre. And I would say that it is somewhat baggage because they have a hard time developing relationships with each other. And I kind of see myself doing that too. Like I don't speak up very much. I don't connect with people. I don't do that kind of thing. So I see
It's
that
kind of like a mirror.
it's a mirror, and I'm like,
real.
Jesus, oh no, it's me.
Yeah.
Well, I think
To a degree.
I
to a
think it
degree.
would just say that it's tough subject matter
It is.
because it's about people who are inept emotionally sometimes.
Right. Thanks.
It's interesting because like
I said people. I didn't say you.
You're the one that's
This
putting me
episode
up.
just got really heavy.
Well, and
we're going there.
also the types of people like that are part of the main cast. Like I think it was a little too real for me, just because like I've known so many people that they don't want to get close to you, and you can see that they know all the right answers and what to do to help themselves, and they refuse to do it.
Oh, never
Tom
mind.
pointed at himself.
And then I put my hand. And then I put my hand. I was like, oh, no. Can I
Like,
change my
but
vote
yeah.
for Grump? I'm kidding.
But the thing I like about this show, to kind of just piggyback off that, the thing that also could deter people from it is the fact that they're, like you said, they're not really interested in building relationships with each other in a sense beyond really functionality and business, right?
Yeah.
Like being bounty hunters together and like
Just getting some food to eat.
but like by the end of the series, you can tell like I've never expressed it, but I really enjoy you. Like
Like
Yeah.
there's
Faye
that.
puts a gun to Spike, stopping him. Like
Yeah,
Jet is like,
that's
you're stupid for doing this. It's like
Yeah,
it's like,
that's exactly the moment I was going to talk about. It's like Faye literally has a breakdown because she knows he's leaving to like probably die.
Yeah.
And the thing I like about that is that
Eh.
these characters are brought together by the same situation. They all have the same situation, is that they don't know what they're doing. They only know they're running from something. And that's kind of what's brought them together. But that is also a hard thing to see straight out. Like you really do have to watch the whole series to get that arc and be like, oh, they aren't just like, sure, they were brought together by that, but that's not what kept them together. At any moment, any of them could have left.
And they do multiple times.
Yeah.
One good example is also like when Ed finally leaves, just leaves a big bye and a smiley face. It's kind of like showing how we can't even say goodbyes sometimes.
Yeah.
And I mean, a good theory talks about how like the show is episodic, but then the overall arc should be just in one thing. So it's like what, a 13-hour movie.
Yeah.
Because it's all actually happening, because you're literally getting the arc throughout every episode of their characters, which is interesting how it kind of changes the medium of which we absorb art.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting talking about like the baggage as far as like the kind of like the more superficial part where it's like I'm used to this kind of anime versus like this kind of anime that's slower paced. I have to check my phone, etc. For me, it was bringing in or like coming in with it being a space cowboy thing. Like that's what got me to watch it.
Space noir western.
Yeah.
Blues,
and
spaghetti western.
That's what got me to watch Outlaw Star after, because it's very much space cowboy adventure kind of thing.
Which is
more fantastical
because I liked
more
Outlaw Star.
fantastical, but it was like, and that's a good point, because it's like it was kind of like it could have served like Outlaw Star. I feel like could have served as a good bridge point to me to get into more fantastical anime, but it didn't, because I didn't find that third stepping stone.
I got you.
I never did.
I got you. I literally got
what
you.
I did find was like Firefly.
I got you. I still got you.
Which is like Firefly's right in between
which is
the two
live
of those.
action Outlaw Star.
Yeah.
Trigun would be the one.
Trigun?
Oh my God.
Trigun would be the one.
We gotta do a
There's
Trigun episode.
There's not the suggestions for Ollie episode.
And
We
maybe
gotta do
bring
it.
Jeff
hit me up
Seymour
on
in.
Twitter.
Great.
Trigun. Let me know.
Okay.
So, I lost it. Fuck. Never
No,
mind.
you didn't. Go for it.
No, I literally did. Like it poofed out of my brain right as I
Qualmy
was gonna
qualms?
say
Those
it.
memento.
It was tied to qualms.
not
Couldn't connect
gripes,
with the
right?
characters and
I technically haven't said my gripes yet. Or my
Jesus.
qualms yet.
Flew away.
okay. Well,
Right
if
at
you
the
think
end
No, I
about
said
it,
my gripes. I haven't said my
interrupt
qualms.
us. Sorry about that.
It's okay. It happens.
You didn't like Vicious?
Oh yeah, he was like a wet blanket to me.
That's what it was.
Like
Was that what it was?
no,
Oh, okay.
he was just
little
his
too coy.
motivations were just boring to me. I was like, oh, they're not angry enough for you, so you have to kill everybody. Like, all right, sit down.
That's called nihilistic.
Mm-hmm.
When they're
Yeah,
not.
he's
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I remember now. It has nothing to do with a qualm. It was more of just like, I think if I had experienced this when at the time that it came out on Adult Swim, when I was watching all this anime and stuff, then I think it would have had a huge impact on my life. I think that it would have changed my perspective on a lot of things.
Oh.
But because I'm experiencing it now, it's a whole different, like
Yeah.
I have, the last 15 years of life that happened.
Yeah.
So I can't experience it
You
in
would
the
have been
same
in a
way
different
because
place. You would have been in a much different place.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. But yeah.
Can I explain a little bit
But then you
about
wouldn't be here.
I want to explain a little bit about
Don't go
baggage.
changing.
And we kind of brought it up a lot because of kind of like our past experiences. And we talk about that when we talk about, how we absorb mediums of art, because every time we absorb new input, it's compacted on top of what we already watched.
Well, it goes through our filter.
Well, I mean, like kind of like Corey recently, I made him watch Rocky, and Rocky came out fucking long time ago. So people who watched Rocky when it came out now have watched, Black Panther, watching Rocky before it. He was the opposite way. Like I'm watching older films. Like if I watched Heat right now, I would look at all the heist films very differently.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other way around, like
It's the same. It's the same thing when I watched.
Don't be upset.
Cue the Tom sigh.
I hate it so much.
There it is.
But yeah,
The oh my God, I can't think of the title right now. The Ringer? No. Oh my God, what's happening to me?
You just neuralized it out of your brain with
Yeah.
this friggin' sigh.
I just lost it, and now it's being blocked. Presque-vous.
but the message of the movies.
Anyway, yeah. So it's like it's an older film with Robert Redford and Paul Newman, and it's a heist movie.
Oh,
And I had actually watched that first before I had seen a bunch of it. I think it's called
it's Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
No, and it's got the guy from Jaws in it actually,
Dreyfus.
Shaw.
Oh.
Oh my God, I'll look it up when I'm done talking. But I had seen, that's my first heist film I had ever seen. So when I watched Oceans, the new ones and stuff like that, or any Guy Ritchie film, I put it through that filter first. So it's really interesting you brought that
It's
up. I
just
never
kind of
thought
like the
about that
lens
way.
you're looking at.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
Yeah.
if you watch Cowboy
The
Bebop
Sting.
first,
Oh man.
if you watch Cowboy Bebop first, then all the animes that you do enjoy, you You would
Would it
still
be
probably
so bad if you did not know?
Yeah, because the ringer is Johnny Knoxville entering
Yeah.
the Special Olympics.
Oh,
you'd still enjoy the animes that you enjoy, or still enjoy all the things you do. I think it would change your perspective because you would look through the Cowboy Bebop lens. But
Yeah.
now, if you watch something that's like Cowboy Bebop, you would now be able to compare it to that. So it's
yeah.
it's not. I think it's
It's a
neither-
different perspective.
Well, baggage
That's
also
all.
comes from like personal life experience,
Yeah.
like in
Yeah.
terms of like what affects you emotionally or whatever, and so
Which is why I can't watch The Notebook yet.
Oh my God! Get out of here.
Really?
He's had my
I
Blu-ray
haven't
for a
done
month
it
and a half.
either.
I think
Let's move on to rating.
This brings us to braiding.
This brings us to
Wi-Fi.
rating.
berating.
Y5.
No rating. So Corey, myself, and Ali have no votes, right? No, I have a vote. So Corey and Ali first.
So we'll go first.
You're rating it?
As
Is that
far
what's
as
happening?
TV shows go, this is hard. I'm like going through my mind of all the TV shows I've ever
okay,
watched.
I'll also
ever.
say this. I'll preface this way. This is our first anime episode, everybody.
Yeah.
Congratulations to all those.
Congrats.
You're one fam.
Congranimation.
Nope.
So I would have to say, out of TV shows, for me, this is a 4.8.
4.8.
I was like, I would challenge you and say compared to Rurouni Kenshin
Well,
because that's your favorite.
it is my favorite.
So that's why I was
So
like,
4.8.
because I know what
I was
Rurouni
also thinking like Peaky Blinders and stuff like that.
it's
So
anime that's different.
I know. Still episodic.
Okay, so
yeah,
4.8 for
4.8.
Corey. Ali Oxenfree.
Is Avatar widely accepted as anime or no?
I think it literally blurs that line, but it's not Japanese.
It's not from
creators.
Japan.
It's a cartoon.
It's cartoon produced by
cartoon.
Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would give it a 4.2.
4.2.
All right.
And then there's one vote for me.
And one vote for Josh.
4.5.
Wow. All right. Welcome
I'll
back to the
hopped
top
right
half.
up.
Welcome back up to the top 5%, Ollie.
Yeah, buddy.
This is a 5. Absolute 5.
All right.
For me. This, I would never change anything. Like for all of its faults and all that stuff, it's completely outweighed by the references, the meaning. It's a time capsule of everything that happened at the time. There's so much within its DNA that I don't even know. Like all the references and all like what was built into it
Mhm.
and how it has affected anime's future.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Here's an interesting concept. I don't think we've come across this yet. What do you think of this? Take this ride with me.
Riddle me this.
The rating scale, 5.0 being you would never change anything about it. Because I actually agree with that. I would not change a single thing about Cowboy Bebop.
See, and that's the thing. It's like, qualms are like brought in so that you can like quantify
Wait.
why you don't
He has a point.
you
He has
don't
a
bring it
point,
up as
though.
like why you wouldn't change it, right? But then
However,
yes.
Yeah.
I think there is a maximum potential for something within like each of us.
How it feels. How it makes
like
you
how
feel.
much I could
'Cause-
potentially like there's little that I would change about this that would break it from what it is,
Mhm.
but it can only ever reach a 4.5.
Yeah. For me, there's nothing I would change.
I think
but
I
it's
like
still
that.
not a 5.
I think like this. It's like Corey asked me to quantify one of my qualms, and it's like, well, could you fix it? And if
That's a
the
good point.
question is if you can fix it, but would it break? And so the thing is like, if it breaks the system, then sometimes the qualm could be here or there. But again, these are our own
Yeah.
personal things.
yeah. So even
And
with
so
your
don't have your own existential crisis. Go watch Cowboy Bebop and then
Well, Tom, let me ask you this then.
I'm breaking your brain.
Even with the
every episode.
you still give it a 5.
So my
No
I guess
4.9.
my key word was with any of the qualms, it's completely outweighed by the gravity of everything else.
Okay, I just wanted to ask that.
You love it for its flaws.
You like something for its qualities, you love it for its
Yeah,
flaws.
because I'm on the same boat. I wouldn't change a damn thing, but for me, it's still 4.8.
Yeah, because I know what your number 5.
Okay. I'm glad we got that figured out.
But no, mine's 5. I would not change it at all, and I could watch that every day of my life.
Yeah. Agreed.
Josh.
Sweet baby Josh.
Calculating.
That's exactly what was happening in my head. I'm glad that you did it.
While you calculate, I'll give you a couple extra seconds. I actually disagree with that last sentence. I wouldn't watch it anytime. And that's kind of, I think, what I mean by the like maximum potential. I wouldn't change anything. It's perfect the way it is. But there are things that I would rather watch.
That's
Anyways.
me.
Go.
Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Are you saying that we're not going to work out together in the future?
Never.
Okay. Glad we got
fired.
that out of the way.
I'm
That,
fired.
that was a real
I'm
conversation.
firing
Computing
myself.
is done. You're out of time.
It's really
Your calculator
really hard.
battery just died. What was
It's
the last
been
number you saw?
3 point. All right. When we started guessing the grump, I was like, I gotta get my number before people start throwing out like who they think.
Yeah.
Because I consistently change Ollie's number most of the time.
3.8.
3.8.
3.8. All right.
Okay.
Caitlin, what was the number you had in mind?
So I have two different numbers.
Okay.
Add them up, divide by 2.
Well, the show
What-
for what it is, I would say 4.8.
Mhm.
Okay.
And for my experience with it, the number that I stuck with at the very beginning
Mm-hmm.
was 4.2.
Oh, shit, Josh.
Wait, what?
You're the grump, buddy.
You're the grump.
Sweet baby grump.
So excited.
No, that's a.
Oh, he's melting?
Yeah, he's melting. Josh
I
is a
just
puddle.
like stuff, man.
But the reason it's as high as it is, because I would want to rate it lower, but
I
But-
would like to hate this.
I would like to hate this.
But I want
But-
Josh to be the grump. So
yeah, that's
4.2.
exactly it. No, it had too many points where I was like, oh, you did a really good job.
Animation, lighting choices.
Audio.
Well done.
Like,
Yeah.
In
Music.
my
there were-
defense. No, I'm just kidding.
well, and it's also something where I feel like when I'm in a different place in life,
And you
I
go
can
back.
watch this again
Yeah.
and be like, okay,
This is
I'm-
fucking great.
This is great, and I appreciate it.
This is
right
neither
now,
here
I
nor
can't.
there,
Yeah.
but that's why I haven't watched Sopranos yet.
Same.
Well,
I
it's
want to
funny-
be at a place because I know it's going to be incredible when I do watch it, but I'm not there yet.
I did think about a lot of the animation and the color choices, and I thought about you because I was like, she has a really keen eye for that. So I was like, she's probably going to like this a lot.
Yeah, they did so many things right that it's hard for me to be like, no, meh, I'm the grump. But
Bah humbug. I guess I like it.
Squidward comes out.
All right.
I do want to say that,
Yes.
like,
Yeah,
in
we're
its
about to
in its
gush.
defense of Cowboy Bebop, in its defense, my number is 3.8 to 4. I
Okay.
can't decide on a. It's up there.
Yeah.
Do you have a
You're still the grump.
internal like?
I know.
what form- do,
Huh?
do you have a mark that it's missing? Like what is 4.0 for you? Like definitively.
No, it's just how I'm
Masterpiece.
feeling
I think
about
it's
it.
how,
Like,
literally, it's tough because again, this is his first foray into anime, like serious anime, not like kid stuff. And so, like, I think the number might change or just might inform your other ones when we watch him because I
Mhm.
make you watch it, Clockwork Orange, and
Yeah.
it will, you know, again, like
it's already having my eyelids are hurting.
Again, like so, I'm very interested to see what you think of future anime when we do future episodes. You heard that right, ladies and
Kenshin.
gentlemen, boys and
Yeah,
girls,
buddy.
and everyone in between. We're gonna do more anime. So,
oh, I should also note that the 4 point, what did I say? 3?
Yeah.
I
2.
think it was
Two?
2.
2.
the low one is
4.2.
4.2. Yeah.
It's going up all the time.
No.
I'm just kidding.
What did
I'm
I say?
saying-
Was it 4.7? Like,
No. That's only because I've now talked about it with other people. Like while, like in the car, even talking about it a little bit, I was like, oh, okay, I see this, I see that. I was more okay with it. The experience of watching it, and especially because I binged it, I think,
In a day.
in literally like 24 hours. The experience of watching it and like sitting through the show was like a 3 for like,
Mm.
Yeah. Well, because you were binging
no,
13 hours
but,
worth of.
But that's how I normally watch anime.
Oh, okay.
Like I will literally hole up in a blanket burrito with a cup of tea and like watch multiple seasons of an anime within 2 days.
Can I ask a question though?
Yeah.
Because I'm a binger myself, but when I watch shows for this and I know there's a deadline, there's an element of stress included.
well, it's like
Did that hit you at
homework
all? Yeah.
in
I-
a class that you like.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like
I
so.
would
Like
say there was a little bit of that, but it was also like what I was talking about before, where it was just like it's kind of a mirror and like the genre is just not what I
Yeah.
normally go for anyway. So it was just like, yeah, there was a little bit of the element of stress, but that's normally how I watch this kind of.
I usually watch things stressed out. It's fine.
Yeah, a constant state of panic. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we all live.
But yeah, it was like I said, I was just checking my phone a lot and I was like, I'm not enjoying this experience.
But now it's up to a 4.2.
But now it's up
Sorry,
to a
Josh.
4.2. Sorry, Josh. You're the grump. Mhm.
Where's
can
my
we-
fucking crown?
Is there any gushing?
I would like to gush about something.
Gush.
It's in the final moments of the show
Mhm.
during the fight. Not quite that, but I do love that.
what is that?
parallel to when he reaches his fingers out and he literally goes bang and then he collapses because it's a reference to the first episode.
Yep. With the harmonica,
which is one of my favorites. But the moment where he's fighting Vicious, and first of all, I love that he's using his gun to block as well, which I thought was great. But they both drop, their weapons go flying and they land at each other's feet and they both put a hand on each other's weapon and they sit there for a minute and you're just like, what the fuck are they just about to switch? Like, can Spike handle that sword? And Spike literally says, this ends now. And Vicious agrees and they slide their weapons back to each other. And I literally had forgotten about that moment and clapped out loud to myself. Like, oh shit. Like that's what I did I rewatched that episode today and I was like, oh shit, that was great. I loved that moment. And then it goes back to the homage from Ali's favorite episode where they hit and shoot at the same time because it's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
And I love that because it shows that in that time, either neither of them have changed as far as that goes, like as far as skill level goes, or they've both been increased waiting for this moment again. Like I don't know, either one of those I love. So that I want to gush about that a little bit because the feels for those 5 minutes till the credits roll were huge to me.
I would be quote unquote Ollie remiss if I didn't bring up the movie, which everyone should watch it. It's Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Yes.
I won't spoil it and talk about it. We should do another episode about it, but there's a lot of great moments in that.
You actually lent it to me.
It's fucking amazing. And I went to like a Funimation event and watched it. It was super dope.
Fun fact.
Came back in theaters for his 20th anniversary.
First Funko I ever bought was Spike Spiegel.
Good choice.
This is too cool.
My first one, I think, was Kevin Smith.
Oh, no, that's good.
What episode is it when they're all hallucinating? Are they eating the mushrooms?
Yeah.
Spike's walking on the Stairway to Heaven. Forever. And I loved that. I was like, oh my God, because he's not going anywhere. And I was like, it's so good. It's so indicative of the characters. So it's like it's those small little moments.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Also like the Scratch Brain episode where they put on the game thing on Ein.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I can't remember his name. Jet. Jet is like, wow, you're being so amazing, Ed. And Ed's just watching Ein like, no, Ein's doing all of that.
Because they don't show a lot of indication that this is the really genetically altered corgi.
Right.
But
Until
those
that
little moments there.
I love that they never seem to really cut a break. Like
no, it's so
they even like there was this one episode that they caught like 10 people, but they couldn't get the bounty because they didn't get the boss. And it's like even that like it just cracks me up that they just
it's the
never catch a break.
scoundrel group thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's like man, they're always going to be
Or
hunting.
Spike, like he's after that one bounty and he's falling from the ceiling or from the level of the skyscraper or whatever, and like he just cares about getting the bounty. He doesn't care if he actually lives or dies. It's like, don't be dead. Wait, hold on. As if he's like holding open a door.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, I need to get this bounty.
The shaman mysticism stuff that I was getting all excited about before. Also, how they have those moments of like they're just living their lives and something bad will happen and then that's an indicator for something else. And how they're like, no, this mysticism has like a thing to it. It's truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you have to pay attention because if you don't, then you won't.
Which is great because like they like live next to like the bay. It's like next to this shitty part of the bay where all this garbage.
Well,
would
it's
be.
like that's also like a trope in like space westerns and stuff.
Yeah.
Is there's a lot of mysticism around it, and it's the same. I mean, cowboys used to do that sort. Like that's where like I guess kind of any outlaw group, if you think about it, like pirates had their tales of mysticism and magic, right? Cowboys had theirs as well.
Knights of the
Native
Round
Americans,
Table.
yeah, they all had these like they're a very superstitious group of folk, outlaws.
It's fun when they make
and
those real.
And bounty hunters.
It makes sense because they don't have any kind of structure to their lives, so they're kind of relying on chance to keep them going.
Yeah, there's no law and order. It's just kind of like
I do love that every time Faye.
These are the stories.
I do love every time that Faye enters a room and someone has some food, she takes the food.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And it's just kind of like, God damn it. It's like Faye, and
I like that she got food poisoning.
oh yeah.
What else? There's so many good moments. Like
the
everything
demon
looks
kid.
great. Everything just looks
Oh,
great.
the immortal kid.
I
I love that
was
episode.
great. And also
And his death is like creepy as
Hardcore,
fuck.
yeah.
Soupy,
Soupy.
a lot.
Just super quick.
It's
all of a
soupy
sudden.
lot.
Crypt keepery. But I love any shots of like the city or like water or like the sunset. Like I say it like this, like I wish filmmaking could get to a point where like they would start looking like how this show looks like, because everything looks fantastic, beautiful. Like when Spike is brushing his teeth on the Bebop and that he's overlooking the ocean, like just that kind of shots like are
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, it's a great show. If you haven't seen it, go watch it literally right now.
Yeah. Hopefully we haven't spoiled too much for you if you
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
I feel complete.
I feel complete.
You probably did.
I
3,
feel-
2, 1.
Did you
let's
even
I was
just?
like, yeah, I did.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
Tom said
I'm
it?
telling you this right now. I've been waiting for a fucking anime episode, and we finally got it. I'm like, I'm good.
You and
I
me
think I'm
both,
done.
brother.
Thank you, everyone. This is my last episode.
So he was in it for the long
Tom
con.
is actually complete.
Yes. How to
Yeah.
do an anime episode on a podcast in 10 months or less.
Yeah,
Oh.
I
Written
think
by
it's
Tom.
good. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm not wearing hockey pads. What?
You waited
What?
so long.
I feel like
did.
there were so many openings.
Yeah, I know.
There were.
And he couldn't
It's
take them
all
because they
about
were obvious.
anticipation.
They were
Yeah.
obvious, so he
It's all
couldn't
about
do
that
it.
anticipation.
Stupid. But speaking of anticipation, where can people anticipate to see some of our stuff, Josh?
Patient.
Jesus.
Cue the Tom sigh.
Fuck y'all, that was great.
You all can go to nerdon.tv.
Your
Everything's
home for
there.
All things nerd on.
Everything.
Literally everything.
There's
If you enjoy
links.
this episode, leave us a review, rate us.
Yeah, we
comment,
love
subscribe.
Love reading those
Oh.
reviews on the iTunes.
We love reading all that stuff, getting your feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Chat with us
Uh,
on the Twitters, the Instagrams, the Facebooks.
Yeah.
Slip and slide in them DMs.
Yeah,
Oh.
or you can do that, or don't. You can just talk to us.
How
like
about
we're human
you
beings.
also take a picture or post it somewhere and hashtag us and tag us and let us know your favorite parts and moments?
Let us know your favorite parts,
Yeah.
favorite episodes.
Who's your favorite character?
Love to hear it.
What do you think
Or
of Faye's outfits?
How it's too
Yeah.
intense for your life and you can't enjoy it fully.
How fucking cool is Spike Spiegel?
Let us know.
On a scale of 1 to dope as shit.
I'm gonna go with just dope as.
Okay.
Shy tea.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to our ramblings. We really, really appreciate it. And as always,
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.